let's pull up our 53-man roster. Anthony, do you think that Ron and Martin, the Martys, do use Google Sheets? You think they have a fancier something?
Yeah, they have to.
You think they have to have a fancier something? I mean, you always see the pictures of like the whiteboards, you know?
Yeah, but
they literally just like do it a depth chart and then have a thing. I don't know. Spreadsheet's pretty easy though.
Yeah, you're right.
So
I mean, maybe during their meetings where they're meeting live, they might use the whiteboard, but
yeah,
they're not together. They have copies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we got our 54 lines on the spreadsheet. We got the position and name at the top, and then 53 spots. So I'm already going to go ahead and make a change because I want to free up a spot. And this is going to be controversial after last night, I just literally copied and pasted it from last week.
Don't tell me you're about to erase Jake Fromm's name.
Ready? Set. Boom.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, he did it.
Oh my. You don't want him to be the second string quarter? I'm joking.
What if I did? What if I deleted it and then deleted Jacoby's and copied and pasted Fromm's into it? No, I think the third quarterback rule is great, and I think it's going to be very helpful. I just don't think Jake Fromm is going to need to be on the roster. And so, yeah, if you get into a spot in a game where both quarterbacks go down, you're going to wish you would have had that emergency guy. But, you will have, theoretically, Logan Thomas out there. Like, you put Curtis Samuel back there, run some Wildcat. Gibson, run some Wildcat. Like, you're probably just screwed anyway. And I think you can get Fromm to the practice squad. And I think there are too many other players on this team that you're trying to squeeze in. And so, yeah, I think even though with the third quarterback rule, that's kind of my reasoning for keeping Fromm. Initially, I think I want the roster spot. So Fromm is out.
Thing is, I agree, man. I agree.
Internet is going to be so mad at us. I love it so much.
It's just there are too many, position battles, too many players to really consider. And again, we have the third quarterback rule. So,
yeah, if you need a third quarterback because you enter the game and Sam's already or Jacoby's banged up or feeling sick, like you can always bring up one of those guys on a Saturday night, and then designate him as the third quarterback for the game. But I just don't think you need to carry that guy week in, week out, who's just otherwise going to be inactive and is never going to be active, as opposed to other guys that you might mix and match. All right, running backs. To me, this is easy. Gibson, Robinson, Rodriguez, done. Jared Patterson, great finish last night.
Yeah, he did.
He continues to impress in the preseason. Kind of an all-time, last couple of years, Rashad Ross type of guy. Rashad Ross award winner. Great in the preseason. Never really popped anything in the regular season. He's had a couple nice plays here and there. But I just think Rodriguez has been a stud. He averaged over 6 a carry last night despite the fumble. Gibson is doing Gibson stuff. Robinson stuff. Done. I still think Alex Arma's on the team as a fullback. I think that one is we'll talk about in a second with the tight ends. I don't think Curtis Hodges has played his way off the team. And I think that Arma's value with some of the stuff they want to be able to do in the run game, in the play action game, and something that's underrated for him, and I noticed this big time in Baltimore in the joints, but also he had a couple of these last night. Dude is a beast in pass pro. And so if you want to use him either as a fullback or running back, like you want to line up in the gun with Gibson on one side and Arma with the other, and send Gibson out on a route and still have a back that you can chip with or just straight up pick up a blitzer and trust that you're going to stone a pressure with, or you line him up at tight end and you have kind of that, use him as the end of line blocker and put him one-on-one against a defensive end and roll the pocket the other way. Like that dude can hold his own in a major way, unlike anybody else on this team outside of John Bates at that position. And so I think the value there, not to mention, the fullback run play action game is always helpful. It really sells those fakes. It draws the linebackers up. It also gets heavier personnel on the field, which allows them to manipulate matchups in fun ways. So I think that's a tool that Bieniemy wants in his toolbox. I think Arma's earned the right to be on this team, or he's earned his spot on the team, I should say. So I think, first 6 spots are 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, and a fullback.
I think I've been consistent when I've said Alex Armour should be on this roster. And again, for everything you laid out, what I saw him do at training camp when he had to pull and block Chase Young, and he actually got a legit block on Chase Young.
Yeah.
I was impressed. So again,
there's they're called sift blocks, right? Where you come back across the formation, and that's what you're talking about. Those are not for the faint of heart. Logan made a living on those. Man. And you gotta waylay a dude, and Alex Armour will waylay a dude.
Yeah, he will.
And when it's a fullback, like, it really sells it, because like you can sift block from like a tight end line position, whether you're on or slightly behind the ball. You can also do it from that fullback position, right? Like you can go offset eye and then bring him back across the formation and just crush the backside end. And imagine it's kind of fun in some ways. Running into a guy like Chase Young can't be that fun, but fullbacks are psychos. So
I want to see him get some carries though. Like I feel as though, like,
they did have one fullback run last night. He was gone. It was to Gore, but like, it's in the playbook.
Yeah.
It is a good short yardage option, that's for sure. All right, let's get through the rest of this offense in this segment. We'll come back. We'll do the defense at 6:30. McLaurin, Dotson, Samuel Brown, Byron Pringle with a catch last night. I still think he's on the team. He's had a quieter week or so, but he just does the right stuff. He's very solid on teams. I think he's going to make the team still. Oh, this is where it gets tough.
Uh-oh.
I think I'm going to put Kaz Allen on for now.
Yes, sir.
I'm taking the upside play. I'm still not convinced they're going to do it. I definitely think Milne is what coaches like. Super reliable. But I also think Logan made this point on the pod a couple times over the last week. I think all of a sudden Allen's ability as a receiver became underrated, where everyone's like, Milne, the better receiver, Allen, the better punt returner. Allen doesn't even know what he's doing in the slot. And it's like, actually, he does. He's not as versatile as Milne. He doesn't know all the spots as well as Milne. But it's not like he's incapable of playing a receiver. He gets out there, he dices dudes up, he gets open. His hands he's had a drop or two, but he gets open. And you saw it last night in the 2-minute drill. He's the guy that was able to get open, get upfield, and get those chunk yardage to ultimately set Sly up for the game-winning field goal. So I think last night was a nice little feather in the cap for Kaz Allen. I think I'm still probably going to go 6 because I need the spot somewhere else. I don't think I'm keeping a 7th, and I think Kaz Allen's my guy.
Craig, this is one of the position battles that it's tough. And, you took Jake Fromm off our roster.
It did.
We take him off. We add a 7th receiver. I think Dax and Kaz make it.
Okay.
Bold take, but
I don't think it's crazy. I'm gonna put Dax Milne over in this column over here as a potential guy, because we still are we're still one short right now.
Oh, okay.
So we got to add someone in somewhere.
Yep.
And by the way, I think I'm gonna bias another roster spot on the O-line. So things could get funky. We might revisit Kaz Allen and Dax. Well, we're not going to revisit Kaz. He's on.
Yeah, he's on.
We might revisit Dax.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, tight end. Logan Thomas, John Bates, Cole Turner.
Yes, sir.
That's it. That's all. Curtis Hodges, sorry, thanks for playing. Unless you go out and do something crazy in the 3rd preseason game, I think you've had too many bad days, too many bad finishes.
Oh.
All right. Charles Leno. Sadiq Charles, whose name I horribly butchered. I am so sorry, Sadiq Charles. Wow, we gotta fix that.
You spelled it wrong?
There, I did. I think that is now correct. Sorry, Sadiq. Nick Gates, Sam Cosmi, Andrew Wiley, Chris Paul, Cornelius Lucas. Those are the 7 that I'm 100% sure of.
Yep.
I'm fairly confident after last night's game that Ricky Stromberg's on the team. I was pretty confident anyway because he's the 3rd-round pick, and you should be confident your 3rd-round pick is going to make the team. However, seeing him play guard at this high level is actually going to boot, sorry, hate this, good pro, had a good camp, bye-bye Tyler Larson.
Ooh.
Because I just don't think you need 10. Because here's the other thing. And I'm going to go ahead and say, as number 9, Braden Daniels, he's your redshirt project, that you knew that when you drafted him. I hate that it's a 4th-round guy, but sure, fine. Okay? But you have guys like Mason Brooks, Aaron Montero, who have played well in camp, and they're younger and they have upside. In Montero's case, he's played tackle for you in the past, so he's got tackle guard flexibility, and you can get more versatility than what Larson gives you at 32 years old as just a center. And so I think they'll probably go 9, and if you keep a 10th, it's going to be that or Trent Scott, who played really well last night at right tackle.
Yeah, he did.
They trusted Trent Scott with Sam Howell. Wiley only played a series last night, and then he came out, and they played Howell the whole first half anyway. Honestly, if I was going to put someone in there right now, it might be Trent Scott.
That's who I was surprised you didn't say. Because Trent, the way he blocked his butt off yesterday, pretty inspiring, to be honest.
So that leaves us with 2 roster spots to plug guys into going into the defensive side of the ball.
And we have 9 offensive linemen, right? Just making sure.
Yeah, 9 now.
Okay, 9.
With Trent Scott in the we need to come back and consider him column. So let's go through the defense next, when we cut back, and then see if we can squeeze either Trent Scott or Dax Milne in, or did we make room for some folks on the defensive side of the ball who we think are going to make this roster. That is next. It's the Hoffman Show on the Team 980, streaming live on YouTube at the Team 980, and always live on the free Odyssey app. Let's do the defense. Defensive line. Chase Young, check. John Allen, Deron Payne, Montez Sweat, duh. James Smith-Williams, yup. Phil Mathis. John Ridgeway becomes very, very interesting. F.A. Obata, Casey Tuhill, and then K.J. Henry and Andre Jones Jr. Was not on our roster last week. However, I think I said this last week. I'm going to go ahead and put him on. I said this after the joint practices. So when we did the roster projection last week, he was not there. However, Andre Jones Jr. officially on the roster. I think what's interesting, though, Anthony, is can they afford to keep, from a roster construction standpoint, this many defensive linemen? Is Ridgeway a potential surprise roster cut?
I think you keep him.
I would.
I think you keep him.
But I'm going to flag it as something that people should be paying attention to.
Just because of how he did perform when, he had to come in for John and Deron.
Yeah. So the thing is about Ridgeway, more than Big Phil, he is more of a backup potentially for John. He can play that 3 technique a little bit better than Big Phil, he's a nose or a 1 tech. You don't want him as much of that 3 technique. So I do think that might wind up saving Ridgeway. But if you need a roster spot, that's a spot to watch. Okay. Linebacker. Jamin Davis, Cody Barton, David Mayo, Khalil Hudson. I don't think anything's changed there. I think Milo Eifler is making a push. And I could see, based off special teams, potentially throwing him in there to the point that I'm going to put him in our float column. But I think it's just going to be the 4 because I just don't think they're going to play a lot of linebackers this year.
I agree. It's tough on the linebackers just because we have so many DBs and you want your best players on the field. So I'm anticipating only keeping 4.
All right. So that leaves Forbes, Benjamin St. Juste, Kendall Fuller, Christian Holmes, Danny Johnson, Derek Forrest, Cam Curl, Quan Martin, Percy Butler, Jeremy Reeves, and then Way, Sly, and we're going to keep Cheeseman for now, but long snapper. There will be one, whether it's Cheeseman or not. I'm anticipating it will be, but we'll see after another bad snap last night. And we also have one spot, and I think in that one spot, even though he didn't have the best night last night, we still have to put Rashad Wildgoose in the float column.
Oh, in the float column. I thought you were putting him all the way on the list. Hold on.
No. So, are you good with all those names? Holmes, Johnson, who I think were the 2 that probably most would raise any eyebrows, but I think those 2 are both on. Holmes has been one of your best gunners. He's been good at corner, not great. A couple penalties. Danny's just been a utility guy that you can trust forever. He didn't play last night because of injury, but I think he's on the team. So any
I have one
pushback
question,
or
Greg.
one other name that you want to add?
No question I want to add. But in the event that, I mean, we don't know how long Danny's going to be out.
He was running around last week on the side fields.
Okay.
But there's a chance. I mean, I don't think they're going to IR him. You can't pup him because he was on, like, you have to start preseason and training camp on pup.
Okay.
But there's short-term IR, potentially.
Yeah.
But IR him for the season, no.
That's my only question and concern, to be honest.
And that's fair. And if that's the case, then I think Wild Goose is really safe.
Yeah.
But that leaves us with the roster spot. So here are the names that I guess we're considering. We could talk about a fourth running back, a Patterson, a Williams. Dax Milne as a seventh receiver, or Tinsley or whoever. Bryson Tremaine was good last night. Also showed some special teams value. I don't think he's dead in terms of a roster spot. Likely practice squad, but seventh receiver. 10th offensive lineman, with it being Trent Scott as a backup tackle. Milo Eifler as a special teams ace and backup linebacker with a little bit of speed. Or I tend to think it's Rashad Wild Goose. Any other DBs that you think are worth mentioning? I don't think so.
Nah.
I mean, Keith Smith's had an all right camp. Like, Terrell Burgess has been very up and down. I think Terrell was in the picture a few too often, potentially.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know how many of those are on him. But if he steps up and makes one of those plays, I think we're having a different discussion. But when you're that far down and you got an uphill battle, it's a tough look. Tariq Castro Fields, like, he's Rashad Wild Goose, last year as well. Like, they came in together. But which of these guys, like, which direction would you go with this final roster spot?
I would probably lean. It's so tough. But I would probably lean Trent Scott or Milo Eifler, to be honest. I'm thinking you can never have too much depth on the offensive line. And then
go ahead.
And then with Milo, it's more so I'm thinking special teams and his impact. I don't think we're going to get much out of Dax having him on the roster if Kaz is, returning kicks. And then in terms of Wild Goose, I just don't know where you play him, though. He wasn't good on the outside. He's been getting cooked a little bit on the slot. I think Danny Johnson
he's played pretty well in the slot. There's a reason he's been one of the top guys rotating in with the ones. I still wouldn't have him on the roster. Let's play Eliminator. You get to eliminate one guy. I'm going first. I'm taking Wild Goose out.
That's who you're eliminating?
I'm taking Wild Goose out.
Okay.
So you got Milne, Scott, Eifler.
I'm taking Milne out.
You're taking... Oh, see, I just screwed myself in this game because I think that's probably who I would pick. Here's the thing with Milne. He can play, not well, but let's say Curtis Samuel goes down.
Yep.
You can play him in that spot, and he's going to know what to do.
But do you need him on the roster, like the initial 53-man walks? Can you not P-squad him? Are you fearing that another team is going to go out there and get Dax Milne?
Definitively no, because if another team gets Dax Milne, I can probably go scour practice squads for someone else who's probably about as good as Dax Milne. But the benefit of having him and your Dax Milne, right? He's not that good, but he's our guy who's not that good. Or he's average. I don't want to be mean about it, but like, he's not a special NFL wide receiver, but he's our not special NFL wide receiver. He knows your playbook and he knows your system. He's been in camp all spring. He's got a rapport with your quarterback. Like, there is the intangible stuff and the continuity piece that makes him valuable. And reliability is a super, super coveted trait amongst NFL coaches. And like Trent Scott, if you have him on the roster, one, I feel very confident you can get Trent Scott to the practice squad. Okay. All due respect. Like, he was on, any team could have had him. Like, Pittsburgh had him on the practice squad and cut him, and Washington picked him up. And, if he goes out and balls out at right tackle again next week, like, I don't know, maybe someone else picks him up as a depth piece as their last offensive lineman. Occasionally these things happen. I'm not going to say it would be outrageous. And I think he should be in consideration for this team. But He's probably inactive every week. Dax has a chance to be up and play. And then same thing for Milo. Like, he's going to be up to play teams. So if I got to eliminate someone here, that feels so stupid, though. This is why I hate this. Anthony, what? Was this my dumb idea to do this every week?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was.
But, Craig, how often do we see wide receiver number 7?
I've seen it multiple times since I've been here.
Really?
Yeah, at least twice.
I'm not talking about, I'm talking about if everyone's healthy, how often do we see wide receiver 7? Granted, injuries happen. You can bring him up.
There was definitely at least 1 year where 7 dudes just forced the issue and it was like, you have to keep me. I'm one of the best players. All right, Dax can go. We keeping Trent Scott or Milo? Who's making our official 53 this week?
Let's rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
What happened with what consequences? What if
I
win? If I win,
you get to pick. If I win, I get to pick.
I hope you win because I don't want to have to pick.
Okay.
All right. Ready? Is this how the Martys do it?
It's rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Yeah. Is this how you think this is how the Martys do it?
I think so.
All right. Ready?
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper.
This is ridiculous. For the radio audience, we've literally tied 3 times in a row.
Last one. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, my gosh.
You pick. I'm the host of the show. I'm making you pick because I don't want to do it. Trent Scott or Milo Eifler?
Trent.
All right. Sorry, Milo. We'll see you maybe next week if you have a great game. Trent Scott, insert row. Insert Trent Scott on the roster. We did it. Despite our rock, paper, scissors best efforts, we made a 53-man roster.
This is the Hoffman Show on the T980 and the Odyssey app.